Y'all already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Thank you for everybody that was in the 100K live last night. Thank you for everybody that's went back and watched the video. Thank you for anybody that's ever taken the time to support what I do, to support the channel, to watch the videos. Thank you all, man. I got choked up for a minute last night because I'm not like a lot of dudes. I'm not afraid to show my emotion or be who I am. I'm cool with who I am. You know, I try to teach that to my kids. Be who you are, no matter who it is. The love I got from y'all was amazing, man. It really was. We had our trolls in there. Hey, salute to all y'all, man. Y'all got a voice too. But it was truly amazing. It was beautiful. So we'll get back to our regular videos. Back to what we do. And I just want to take a moment to say thank each and every one of y'all for what y'all done and for what we've accomplished together. So today I'm going to talk about some of the best advice I was given from guys that were never going home. The best advice, best things I heard that came from lifers. Men that would never see the streets again. Never know the comfort of laying down with a woman again. Never walk up and open a fridge. Walk in a supermarket. Wouldn't be there to see their kids. Its kids be born. You think of prison, you think of bad people. That's exactly what it is. It's a place where bad people go. But it's also a place where people that make mistakes go. It's also a place where there's guys in there that had never been in trouble in their life, and one small lapse of judgment or decision changed the outcome of the rest of their life and someone else's. So without further ado, let me tell you about some of these guys, their stories, and the things I carry with me to this day that I was taught by them. You know I done seen it. You know I done lived it. So let's relive it. I've spoke of a friend of mine named Mr. Peoples in the past. I talked on his story, and we'll get into that later on in this story. But in initially meeting Mr. Peoples, our friendship didn't start off the way most friendships would start off, or the way you would imagine most people's friendships to start off. He didn't live far from me in a cell. And I had got into it with this white dude in the pod that I just didn't like, man. For whatever reasons. I mean, I know why I didn't like him. Dude was fake. He was super fake, and it should have been none of my business. Let him be as fake as he wanted to be. I just could not stand this dude. I would see him get around white dudes, and he would talk one way. Then he would get around black dudes, and he would talk one way. Dude was like, he was like a Fisher-Price chameleon. Like, he was just, like, he was fake as they come. And I didn't like the dude. The dude always talked about what he did in the streets and how he was a savage and ain't nobody want no wreck with him. And I would hear him talk, and I knew when he was talking, it was just talk. Like, this dude's really, you've been in here for over a year now. You ain't never got into it with nobody. And when you do, I've seen you cop deuces. Cop deuces means talk your way out of the fight, right? But then soon as he'd talk his way out of a fight, he'd be over there on some, yeah, man, dude ain't want it. I'm trying to tell you, man, he's lucky because I was about to, you know, do this and do that. And I would never rock with this dude. I would just look at him and be like, this dude's a whole entire clown, right? So me and him, he's saying something to some of my people one day. My people being just anybody I kicked it with. I've told y'all that in the past. It doesn't come with a color. If you're good people, you know, I rock with you. He gets into it and is arguing with some of my people one day, and they're ready to just jump him and beat his ass. They're tired of his mouth, right? So me not liking dude, I did what I shouldn't have done. I put my nose where it didn't belong. He's acting all tough. He goes in the cell. My dude's about to go in there and just jump him and just beat the shit out of him. And I'm like, nah, we ain't gonna jump him. I don't like him anyway. Let me have him. So I go in there, and everything I thought to be true was. This dude fought like a 9-year-old schoolgirl. Could not fight, could not take a punch. And the craziest part is, he talked all that shit when I walked up, and I said it right in front of him. I said, man, I got him, man. Now let me tighten him up real quick. Let me get him. And he just bah 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 bah. You gonna come in here? Bah, just running his mouth, right? And I guess he thought that the dudes he kicked it with were gonna jump in, but they really didn't like the dude either, man. They just let him live. So I go in there, I beat him up, and he deserved it. Just for his mouth, he deserved it. He had it coming. Nothing to boast about, but the dude deserved it. I'm beating him up, and this dude's telling me, we're better than this. We're better than this. Like, and I've heard this before. Why are you doing this? Come on, man. Chill, chill, chill. And he's just trying to cover his face. I keep pulling his arm back like, nah, you got to wear this ass whooping, man. You got to learn, because the next person might kill you, you know? It might not sound like a good reason to beat somebody up, but that's actually how I thought at one point. Like, the next man might not beat you up. He might just kill you. So I come on out the cell afterwards. He gets up, cleans himself up, cleans his blood up. I go on about my business. Later that evening, my homeboy comes to me and says, hey, somebody just came to me on the yard about dude. I said, what's up with dude? Said he's on the yard looking for a knife. Like, he's going to get a knife and he's planning on stabbing you and killing you with it. I said, what? He was like, yeah, he's talking about stabbing you and killing you with it. I said, okay, that's what it is. At the time, I had a big piece of plexiglass, but it hadn't been sharpened yet. I just had it on standby and hadn't had this long. My other knife, somebody got caught with it. So that night in the cell, I'm in there and I'm sharpening this thing on the side of my counter. The it's got a metal lip on it, and the inside of the lip is like it's sharp. You can cut your finger on it. But if you pull the plastic against it, you can kind of mold this piece of plastic into the shape that you want it in. And then I sit down on the floor and I sharpen it on the floor. Following day rolls around. I don't know if this dude's got a knife, but I know he's made these threats and I know what his plans are. And at that point in my bed, I didn't feel like I had any hope. I didn't think like I was ever going to get out of there. I had so much time to do that I felt like somebody's either going to end up killing me while I'm in here, or I'm going to end up killing somebody else. I can't focus on what's going on in the streets or worry about what's going on out there in the world or when I come home. I just got to make sure I stay alive. So I'm going to do this to dude before he can do it to me. Well, I talked to one of my old heads in the pod. My old head, he knew what I was up to. He slept in the cell next to me. He said, what you going to do with that? And I told him, I said, what you mean, what am I going to do with it? What you think I'm going to do with it? He was like, don't be pulling that thing out, Jay, unless you're ready to use it. I said, I'm ready to use it. I'm going to use it. He was like, so what you going to do? I said, I've already said too much, man. He tries to talk to me, and I'm really not trying to hear this dude because I don't talk to this guy a whole lot. He goes up and talks to Mr. Peoples. I had a lot of respect for Mr. Peoples just on the way he carried himself. He was a lifer, wasn't ever going home, had been down probably as long as I had been alive at this point. I go to walk by Mr. Peoples' cell a few hours later, and he tells me, hey, youngin', come here. Let me talk to you. So I go over there. Everybody knows who Mr. Peoples is. And I said, what's up, man? He said, step on in the cell. Have a seat, young man. Let's talk. So I go in there and I sit down, and I've got this knife in my pants. Got it wrapped up in a piece of sheet, shoved down the front of my pants, my shirt covering it. He said, you got that knife on you? I said, yeah, I got it on me. I said, what do you know about this, man? And I'm like looking at him like, why are you in my business? But out of respect for dude, I'm not going to say that. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't coming at me sideways. I can see right off the gate that he's got something he wants to say. And he tells me, so you gonna kill that boy with that knife? I said, I don't know if I'm gonna kill him, but I know I'm gonna hurt him real bad with it. What if you kill him? I said, well, if I kill him, I'm still here and he's gone. He said, you really think that he's gonna kill you with a knife? I said, well, he's asking for a knife and that's what he's telling people. So, You know what? Why wouldn't I think it? He's like, because he's a pussy. You beat him up. You shunned him. You hurt his pride in front of everybody. So now he's talking about stabbing you. And you're really going to throw your life away over that guy. So how am I throwing my life away? I'm already locked up. And I could see the anger in his eyes when I said that. And my comment of how am I throwing my life away, I just said this to someone that has thrown their life away that has no chance of coming home. That's when he really broke it down to me and told me, I was young, I was hot-headed just like you. I made a choice one night to do something, and I've regretted that choice ever since the moment it happened. He said, I was young when I came into this penitentiary. I came into this penitentiary when it was a different world, where rumors of somebody trying to get a knife didn't hit the open air and people didn't hear about it. You just got killed. He said, that boy ain't gonna do shit. That boy ain't gonna run up on you with the knife. If he does get a knife, he ain't gonna do nothing but show it to his little buddies, just like these little dudes do in the streets with these little guns, and they don't never squeeze them off. He said, that boy ain't gonna do nothing. I know you'll do something. Everybody in here knows you'll do something. Are you willing to throw away your life behind this dude? Sat and pondered on what he was saying for a minute. Told me, once you do this, there ain't no turning back. Any family you got that comes to see you, kids, and kiss all that bye. And you're thrown away behind this piece of shit. Those were simple but powerful words. It was common sense what he was saying, but when you're in those moments and you get that angry, you don't really care about common sense. You don't care of the repercussions and consequences of your actions. You just act. Dude got angry, man. Screamed on me. Are you really ready to give your life away? Are you ready to take another man's life? Are you a murderer? Are you a killer? You killed anybody before? And I just kind of sat looking at him. He said, if that's what you want to do it. But don't wait. Don't wait till this evening or wait till he attacks. Just do it. Do it in front of everybody. Do it in front of the guards. Go do it right now. Because they're going to find you. They're going to find out you did it. And you're going to sit in here the rest of your life with me. If that's what you want, go do it. He said, I'm telling you that what you do from this point forward is going to determine if you ever get to be with your kids again, if you ever get to go home, you ever lay down with a woman, you ever walk out these gates. I won't ever walk out these gates because I didn't listen to nobody and I decided to do what I wanted to do. I guess a good 3-4 minutes passed of just silence. Me sitting there on that stool, him sitting on his bunk smoking a roll up. This is an old black man. After about 3-4 minutes, I pulled the knife out and I handed it to him. He took the plexiglass knife, grabbed 2 parts of his sheets, flexed it, and broke it in half. Said, you're not as dumb as you look. Mr. Peoples, whether he knows it or not, he saved me. That talk he had with me, he didn't have to have with me. We didn't really rock like that. We didn't kick it like that. That was one of our first real conversations. We would go on to be really good friends. And that guy that was talking about stabbing me didn't do nothing. He ended up getting caught with the shank on the rec yard because he was showing everybody the knife. Word made it back to a guard, or a guard saw him. However they figured out he had it, they figured it out. Mr. Peoples was right. I didn't have to do anything to that dude. Dude did it to himself. He got caught and got shipped off. My plan was definitely to try to end his life because I thought he was going to end mine. Mr. People will go on to be a very, very good friend of mine. I watched him wither away and succumb to cancer. He didn't have to do his life sentence because his life was taken from him by cancer. You can learn a lot from somebody that's walked in your shoes. You can learn a lot from somebody that's lived a long life. And most importantly, when somebody's giving you advice on something you're about to do that they've already done, you might want to listen. Once again, rest in peace, Mr. Peoples. I know you're looking down, and I thank you for that conversation. Oh, Wild Man. Rest in peace, Wild Man. I spoke on Wild Man in the past, and his name fit him. Wild Man would put up with no disrespect. Wild Man was a killer. Not no fake pretend killer. Not the type to shoot into a crowd and accidentally kill a child. Wild Man was a real killer. Wild Man would walk right up on you and do whatever he decided in his mind was right to do to you. Not a lot of dudes talk to Wild Man. He didn't talk to a lot of people. Not a lot of people kicked it with Wild Man. He kicked it with a whole different caliber of guys. Anybody been up Greensville, been in the system a long time, out in Virginia, y'all know John Wayne. John Wayne was older black man, high yellow, super light-skinned, bald-headed dude. And he got his name from the fact that John Wayne was in those streets. It wasn't no talking. Y'all had any words, it was pow, pow, pow. They gun you down. John Wayne was a killer. Wild Man was a killer. These two, they had definitely had a friendship. They were like-minded. They were old-timers. Had both been down a long time. John Wayne would go ahead and eventually make parole, go home, kill somebody, and be sent back to prison for the rest of his life. Wild Man at times would do things sporadically. Like, he would get a thought in his head and he would get obsessed with that thought. He would get obsessed with what he was going to do and how he was going to carry something out, as y'all have heard my other stories. But he never did it unless he felt that in some way he was being disrespected or it was carrying over into his life. Roll the windows up, guys are taking lunch. I guess it's maybe at this point, 2009, 2010. We have a white dude in my pod that everybody knows is a sex offender. He was accused of molesting his neighbor's daughter. This is a young white guy, early 20s. You look at him and he just did not look like he belonged in prison. The day he walked in and I took one look at him, the first thing I could think is, man, this dude's gonna have a rough time in here. Dudes get to gossiping, talking about him. Man, dude's a child molester. He molested his neighbor's daughter or whatever. Yeah, it's in the paper. Dude's got like paperwork on him they've had sent in. They've got newspaper clippings of him. And to say the least, dude is not having a fun time. Dudes are taking stuff from him. He's been beat up several times. And I used to see Wild Man standing in his doorway just smoking his roll-ups. Chain smoke cigarettes. And a roll-up is a cigarette that you roll up. Like with no filters, like you roll a joint, but it's tobacco. I could roll them things to where they look like it came straight out the pack. So could Wild Man. Wild Man would be in his door just smoking, watching this young dude pretty much be tormented, be shunned, robbed, assaulted. I didn't ever mess with the dude, man. Steered clear of him. As long as he don't come over here and say anything to me, I'll let him live. Comes to my cell one day, and at the time I was running a store box, and Wild Man slept in cell 21 directly beside me. A Wild Man standing in his door, and I'm standing in my doorway, middle of the day, and we're just kind of, collecting our thoughts, looking around at everything going on, all the chaos, 86 men in this pod, It's a lot going on. Just watching people run around like chickens with their head cut off. It's also store day, meaning we went to commissary. So I'm standing in my doorway, watching everybody come in with their bags. I know who owes me. Wild man standing there, he done got his commissary, smoking his roll up. And I'm just looking around at everybody, and I see the white dude come in. The guy that's been accused of this molestation and rape charge. He got nothing in his bag. He owes a couple different people. What dudes will do is if they owe somebody else, they'll go borrow it from the next man and just pay him double so that they can pay this guy this week and, you know, keep him off the ass, keep him from getting messed up. It's kind of like if you owe me $20 and you know I have to have it by Friday or there's going to be problems, then you go borrow it from somebody else. They want 40 back and you give me my 20. Now you got till next week to pay them. By then, your money usually comes in. You make it to commissary. Dude's looking around for, like, I guess for dudes he can borrow something from to pay these guys off so he doesn't get beat up. And as I'm standing there looking at him, we make eye contact. Well, you never had no words. I don't mess with you, you don't mess with me. So he comes over. I see him, clear as day, looking at me, walking over. He's got his bag in his hand. And he's like, what's up, Jay? Guys knew who I was. I'd been in there a long time. Everybody knew me. I just kind of looked at him, didn't really say nothing, just nodded my head, and he's standing about 3-4 feet from me. He was like, you run a store box, right? And I just kind of looked at him like, you know, nodded my head, still hadn't said a word. And he goes in explaining his situation, how he didn't get his commissary and he owes these people, and they're going to do this and do that. And before a dude could finish even fully explaining himself to me, I just snapped out thinking about the charges. Thinking about my son at home, my nieces and nephews, my sisters, other innocent little kids. I got a very big soft spot in my heart for the kids. Like I can't stand nobody that's got messed up charges, did something to a child. Like it hurts me to my core that somebody could do that something to an innocent child, to a little girl, boy, whatever. Dude's in the middle of talking. And I just buck at him. I said, man, if you don't get the fuck away from my cell, man. And dude's eyes get all big. He takes a couple steps back, and I step on my doorway. I said, man, don't ever come over here questioning me, asking me for nothing. You're a chomo. You're a sick motherfucker. Stay away from me. Get the fuck away from me before I pull you in the cell and do something bad to you, right? My bad. I say, ain't no my bad, man. Don't ever speak to me again. The fuck away from me, man. Carry your ass back over there if I do something bad to you. Dude walks off, right? A little time goes by, and right after this happened, I looked over the door, wild man standing there puffing a cigarette, but he's looking at me. Exhales his smoke, turns his head back forward, and goes back to watching everybody. A little bit later that evening, I'm sitting in my cell. Wild man comes over there, and a lot of dudes called me youngin' back then because I was young. What you doing, youngin'? So I ain't doing shit, man. You know, got paid by everybody today. Think I'm gonna hit the yard tonight, lift some weights. You know, do some cardio, run a couple miles. What's up with you? He said, nah, what's up with you? So what do you mean, what's up with me? He said, why you snap on a young man like that earlier? I said, what you mean, why I snap on him? Dude was a sex offender, man. Dude was a child molester. Wild man said, well, you a robber, right? You rob people? I said, yeah, I rob people. He was like, you in prison, right? I said, yeah, I'm in prison. I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean? You're asking crazy questions right now. Well, he's in prison just like you. And he's paying for his crimes just like you. And that's when we got to arguing. I said, no, we're not paying for crimes. Like, you can't never pay for a crime like that. Care how much time they give you in prison. There ain't no paying for a crime for touching a child. There ain't no paying for a crime for molesting a child. He said, oh, you just think you fucking know everything. You don't know what that boy did. You don't know nothing. I said, I know what he did. Everybody knows what he did. It's right there in the paperwork. Wild man goes on to tell me, he's already been judged. It ain't your fucking place to place judgment on nobody. I said, so you support, or you defending what he did? I didn't say I'm supporting or defending what he did, but I'm also not going to ride down on him because that's not my place. He had his day with the judge and he'll have his day with God. Leave people be. Trying to put yourself in situations that can be avoided. What if he'd have looked at you and said, fuck you? Now you done got into it with this man or did something to this dude behind something that ain't got nothing to do with you. You can't walk around here demanding respect all day and think that you can disrespect people when it's just okay. You don't know nothing about him or what he did. I kind of looked at Wild Man crazy after that, like, yo, this dude was defending a sex offender. This dude is 100% defending a dude that molested his neighbor's kid. So I told Wild Man, I said, look, man, with all due respect, Wild Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not no killer. Wild Man is not somebody you want to get into it with like that, because Wild Man will kill your ass. He'll take you up out of here. I said, look, Wild Man, we just gonna agree to disagree, man. I don't fuck with the dude. I don't like none of these dudes in here that got these sex charges, man. You know, they shouldn't just be able to walk around like this. A lot of them didn't. They was getting extorted. Dude was getting extorted, you know. He said, well, that's not your place. You ain't in here that long. Do your little punk ass 10 years and go home. It's coming from a man that, you know, knows what it is to have your life taken away. Do your little punk ass 10 years and go home, man. Leave that shit to the guys that if they really want to do something, they'll do something because they ain't got nothing to lose. You got too much to lose. You're too smart. Wild Man would always tell me, you smart. Like DJ Khaled said, you smart. He'd always tell me, you smart. You can get out here and you can do something. But you running around here with these knuckleheads, running around here doing this and that. This is all stuff I'd heard prior and afterwards, right? Wild Man told me that day, pretty much, how many people y'all know that's got a tattoo that says only God can judge me? But you'll judge somebody else, right? Wild Man said, you don't know what happened. Leave the boy the fuck alone, man. I said, yeah, whatever, man. You know what I mean? We're just going to debt this conversation. It's over with. Never thought much more about dude. Me and dude steered clear of each other. That's what it was, right? Some other things transpired later on down the road between me and dude. But I'm not going to put that in the story. I'm not, just because of where the story's leading up to. I would get shipped, and I'm at Indian Creek, and I'm laying on my bunk, and I got my little 13-inch flat screen tied up underneath the top bunk. I'm on the bottom bunk. Then there's a grate that the bunk above you sleeps on. And I took the sheets, ripped it, ran it through my TV, and tied my TV at the end of my bunk. From the top, you know, the bottom of the top bunk. And I'm laying there watching my TV. And I got my headphones in. And this dude's face pops up on TV. And my eyes get big. I start looking. This is the dude that I had these issues with at Greensville. This guy was released from prison because the girl that accused him of raping and molesting her many years down the road came forward feeling bad that he was in prison and admitted she lied. This girl worked for the courts. This young man was young. Was sent off to prison with killers, rapists, murderers, robbers, thieves, the worst of the worst. And he hadn't even done anything. I couldn't do nothing but lay there and look at that TV and watch that dude hug it. Who I'm guessing is his mother and his father outside the prison. I had passed judgment on the man. Had actually gotten into a physical altercation with him months down the road. Just behind something simple he had said, nothing that should have led to that. And in those moments, I laid there thinking about what Wild Man said. You don't know what the fuck he did. Who are you to pass judgment? Why are you messing with that dude? He was right. Wild Man was crazy. No way around it. Dude was crazy. But he was smart. I'm not speaking on anybody else in the world that's got charges like that. The only two people I can speak on is him and another guy I did time with that did 27 years, that had been locked up since a teen for some rapes out here in Richmond. The man that did those 27 years was ultimately released I saw him on the news too, man. It was a big deal. I was still at Greensville. And ironically enough, this man was able to return back into the prisons. Oh, allergies are killing me. This guy was able to return back into the prisons and talk to his brothers he had left behind, the guys that believed in him and trusted him. I seen him in the visiting room one day. I was sitting there with my mom, and she was like, "Ain't that the guy from TV?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's him." He came back in and kept his word and was visiting his friends, man. We don't always know what we're talking about, and sometimes we do. The moral of today's story is, listen to what people have to say. Take the time to listen. We don't know it all. At 90 years old, you still learn. At 29 years old, you still learn. We learn until the day we die. Sometimes we think we know everything. We really don't know shit. And like I said, this story isn't applied to anybody out here in the world. I know. I'm sure there are guys that have charges that didn't do it. This story strictly relates to this situation and this dude. Be quick to listen and slow to talk. Be quick to teach and even faster to learn. Who would ever think when me and Wild Man had that conversation and damn near got into it behind me doing what I thought was right, that I was actually wrong. And y'all gonna look it up, so I will say dude's name. He was found innocent. So I'll let y'all peek into his stuff. I'm sure he won't mind because he's an innocent man. Jonathan Montgomery. And he was ultimately released from Greensville Correctional Center. The girl that lied on him, that had him put in prison, I think she got probation. Pretty sure she lost her job at the courthouse or the sheriff's department, wherever it was she worked. She worked at, y'all read it, something like that. But Jonathan, if you see this, man, salute. And I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for any way I ever treated you, things I did. You didn't deserve that, man. You shouldn't have been there to begin with. And I should have listened to Wild Man when he told me. Remember what DMX said? Judge not, or you should be judged first. You learn a lot from guys that have been down that road. You learn a lot from a lifer. A man that has no life and has thrown his life away. In your times of not thinking straight or doing what you want to do, that might be the man you want to listen to. Because that's going to be the man that is going to guide you in the direction you need to go. Hope y'all enjoyed today's videos. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here. Y'all already know it's Friday. It is payday. Got to get these invoices done. Put money back in my pocket. Put money in all my guys' pockets. Make sure the family's fed. Make sure the lights are kept on. And y'all already know this is business as usual. But anyway, these detention centers, these facilities, these prisons, these jails, they're all just crazier worlds inside this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And this is Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. And to all my real ones and the awesome real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.